This video is intended to clarify what FastEdit is and what possibilities it offers. Apparo FastEdit is a tool for creating data entry applications, so-called business cases. These run in the web browser and do not require any installation on the user's computer. One of the priorities is the complete integration of Excel. With business cases, you can create small applications such as data entry forms, build complex workflows, or just close the gaps which the standard software used in your company has left open. The cornerstone of this is the integration into existing BI systems such as IBM Cognos, SAP Business Objects, SAS, and ClickView. Of course, you can use FastEdit without an existing BI system too. Safety is of paramount importance in FastEdit. You always have full control over who can view data, enter, change, or delete. The various possibilities for data validation ensure that only valid data can be entered. Data history and auditing give you the tools in hand to be able to understand at all times who changed what data, when and in which way, and ensures that erroneous changes can be undone at any time. The entered data can be further processed platform independently and is available for any other system. Creating business cases with FastEdit is very simple. The Apparo Designer provides a switchable online help with explanations for all features and settings. All business cases can be made self-explanatory, thereby providing extensive training. Business cases can be created in almost no time and can always be adapted and changed. With Apparo FastEdit, you do not need costly in-house developments anymore. The Apparo Designer. You start the Designer section by clicking on the corresponding links in your business intelligence system. On the left side, you will find the menu items. Their visibility depends on the rights that you own. In the upper part, you will find the application name, the menu item in which you are located, the name of the logged-on user, the name of the client, and far right to link back to the portal. In the middle is the editing area. At the moment, you look at the business case list, and on the right side, you'll find the button that activates the description mode. The description mode displays help texts so that you get explanatory text on each feature and all settings. This facilitates the entry into Apparo FastEdit without constantly having to consult the manual. In the menu Connections, you will find database and email connections. To create business cases, you need at least a valid database connection. In the tab Main, you will find the general connection settings. In the tab Advanced, you will find, for example, settings that regulate concurrent access. What happens when two users want to edit the same record at the same time? With the current settings, that's not possible. The second user will receive a warning message and the record is blocked for him. In the tab Variables, you define your own variables. With these variables, you can make the settings in the tab Main dynamically. In the tab Security, you can restrict the use of the database connection. If you enter security groups here, then the use of this database connection is only permitted to users from these groups. You create a business case by clicking on the New button. There are 5 different types of business cases. Table business cases put all records of a database table in a list view, while single business cases are used to show single records, for example as a data entry mask. Sets can be used to group several business cases in a tab view. Email import business cases contain all the settings that are required for the import of data from email attachments. Email business cases are used to send emails. For our video, we create an example table business case. In the next window, we enter the ID, the name and the underlying database table, and then we click Next. If a new business case is created, the list of features automatically opens. The required features can be enabled or disabled here. The activation of features expands the menu in the Edit view. We recommend activating only needed features. If the business case will be edited again after a long time, then you will have a far better overview. When you create a business case, Fast Edit automatically creates widgets of type input field for all columns of the underlying database table. Before we start the business case, we still need to define one or more primary keys. These keys can be different from the primary keys of the underlying database table. Having started the business case, we can theoretically begin with the change of data, although it will be difficult for users to imagine something reasonable under the status ID equals 2 or product ID equals 380. Therefore, we need to edit the business case a bit more. It still shows significant weaknesses in the points usability and design, as well as security and data validity. It's also not accessible for end users because so far it exists in the designer only. I've now made some changes to improve the usability and security. For the ease of use, I have added the following elements: a header including the description of the business case, and a document with detailed instructions on how to work with the business case. Several filters to filter the data. A mass update widget to change the status for all selected rows at one time. Then I have several input fields replaced by lookups and lookup drop-downs. The numbers in the target table will be replaced with plain text names from the associated lookup table here. Also, I have added an upload-download widget so that users can attach their Excel files. In addition, I've added tooltips with explanations for each column. To demonstrate multilingualism, I've now changed the user's language to German. The system detects the language settings and changes automatically the interface language accordingly. All headings, buttons and tooltips are now displayed in German. We are back in the English interface, and I'll show you now in the designer what steps I've taken for more security and data validity. On the subject of security, I have used security groups-based filters. These filters ensure that users of the Office London only see their own data, and accordingly the users of the Office Berlin only see the data of the Office Berlin. For better data validity, I have included limitations on widget level. In the widget plan data, I have set the output type to number. If the user should enter letters or special characters here, he will receive an error message. Also, I have limited the interval of allowed values. Allowed are only values between 0 and 9,999. If you are using variables here, then you can calculate the validity intervals dynamically. Later in this video, you'll learn about other options you have when it comes to security and data protection. Now let's turn to the topic widgets. Widgets are data input and output elements. When creating the business cases, widgets of type input field are generated for all existing database columns automatically. If we have to change the business case, for example, we need instead of the 10 planned data fields, now 11 data fields, then we can add a column in the database by ourselves or use the automatic column creation feature. For this purpose, click Add, then click Edit Widget and select the widget type. In the field column name, select Create New Data Storing Column. Now you can enter a name for the column and define the data type. Then click Create. The following widget types are available: Input field, Text area, which is a multi-line input field, Checkbox with the possibilities checkmark set or not, Simple drop-down, which is a drop-down list with the mapped column as data source, Lookup drop-down, Label, a label, is used to output text, for example, for explanations or hints. Label with variables. This enables the output of HTML text and the use of variables, for example, for output of calculations or dynamic content. Spaces and titles used to generate gaps and spaces. business case link to link business cases with each other, and, as seen already in the example business case, the widget for the up and download of files. Further possible widget types are Simple and Lookup Multi-Select. They are available only for filter widgets, and the Mass Update widget, which is available in the same named area only. The basic settings for the widget can be found in the tabs of the Widget Edit screen. You can use default and constant values, transport the value of the widget to a detailed business case, hide the widget, set to read only, and make various other settings for controlling the widget behavior or define the visual appearance. Single business cases. Single business cases are often used as data entry forms or to show more details via business case link. They show only one dataset and the widgets are arranged in columns. A single business case is either in edit mode. In this case, you can navigate using the navigation bar at the bottom between the existing datasets, or it's in insert mode. This can be called via this button. This single business case provides an example of a so-called lookup cascade. The selections are defined by the preceding element. Business case sets. Business case sets are used to group business cases in a tab view. It's also possible to couple used filter widgets so that the same filter is used in all coupled business cases automatically. Variables. One reason for the great flexibility of the Fast Edit are the almost unlimited possibilities for the use of variables. The following types of variables are available. Environment variables, which are stored in the operating system. They can be used in all clients and business cases. Database connection variables. They can be used by all business cases that are using this database connection. Then there are user-defined variables. As script variables, they use JavaScript and can even execute SQL commands and call own Java classes for complex calculations. Report variables. These are used to transport the content of reports and business cases. The third type are SQL variables that contain an SQL command and return the respective result. The last group are the so-called internal variables. These are predefined in Fast Edit and can be used in all business cases. In addition to the internal variables, all widgets can use widget reference variables. The content of the variable corresponds to the content of the widget. Variables can be used in other variables, in functions, such as here the automatic procedure call, and in almost all settings within the widget, as in here as constant value or for read and write expressions. Excel import via email. Since Excel is still the easiest way to manage large amounts of data, Fast Edit provides several Excel interfaces. The manual row import with copy and paste, the file import and automatic file import on the server, and also the possibility of importing Excel files from email attachments. The advantages of the import via email are obvious. The user doesn't need to log in. This way he needs no license for the business intelligence system, and sending an email is very easy. The email import works this way. The user edits an Excel file, saves it, and sends it to the predefined email address. If the data is proper, he will receive an email confirmation for the receipt of email and for the successful import. In the case of faulty data, he receives a reply email with an Excel file as attachment that contains all erroneous data lines. In addition to the line number, he also gets the column in which the error occurred and information about why the data was incorrect. I recommend at this point our video, Excel Import via Email, a user's view. You'll find the corresponding link in the description below this video. The import itself is done by normal business cases, which are defined in the settings of the email import business case. There are several ways to ensure security for the email import. In addition to the possibility of setting a list of trusted mail servers in the email connection, you can specify here in the Security tab a list of allowed sender addresses, keywords that must be included in the email, and define authorized security groups. With a confirmation email, you can also ensure that the specified sender has really sent the email. The data validity is also given. The data is checked the same way as in the manual input. In addition, you can use file names masks and the definition of expected columns and data types to ensure that only the desired files are imported. Integration into business intelligence systems. Another strength of FastEdit is the integration into business intelligence systems. Currently supported are IBM Cognos, SAP Business Objects, SAS, and ClickView. The integration is done by the deployment into the Business Intelligence portal and by the use of the existing security system there. You can use the existing user groups and don't have to define everything new. Data input to reports takes place using hyperlinks. This calls a FastEdit business case where you can enter comments or add, change, or delete data. After changing the data, the report can be updated optionally so that users can see the changes immediately. You can transport all the values of a report within the URL to the business case and further process the data there with the aid of report variables. No longer simply consume the information of reports, respond interactively directly via data input and make, for example, prioritizations and decisions. In the BI system itself, nothing is changed. FastEdit uses only common interfaces, so the support of your BI system will remain fully. Calling external scripts or database procedures. Another possibility for the processing or examination of the data outside of FastEdit is the calling of external scripts or database procedures or functions via user-defined buttons or automatically upon the occurrence of certain events. In our example business case, I defined on the lower right one of these buttons. After data entry, the status ready for controlling can be set either manually or for all marked lines with the mass update area, or after importing large amounts of data with the user-defined button that unlocks all the records for the controlling. User-defined buttons can be buttons for executable files, buttons for database procedures or functions, URL buttons for calling any URL, reports or business cases, and email buttons to send emails. Our button invokes a procedure and transfers as parameter a variable. The button label contains, for demonstration purposes, additional HTML code. This is not really needed here because you can set the font color using the visual settings. HTML can be used just like variables in all output elements. So you can, for example, create hyperlinks, buttons or graphical elements, and much more in a label. Another way for calling executables or scripts or database procedures and functions is the feature Automatic Scripts and Database Procedures. An application example for calling would be, for example, if you want to pass the attached file in a business case to the in-house file management system using a batch file. You can also add any value or data as a parameter or argument to the call. Examples of automatic call options are before running a business case, after closing business cases, when data rows were added, or when they have been updated, or after performing an Excel import. Possible return values can be stored in a variable for further processing. In the following section, we deal with questions about security, data validity, and traceability. The security question is actually always, who's allowed to see which data, or is allowed to enter, change, or delete? The question of traceability is, who has changed, what and when, in which way? The data validation process asks, what kind of data is allowed and what data has to be rejected as false? For traceability, we have the features data history and auditing of data changes available. The data history generates a new line of data and marks it as the current line and hides old data rows. For the user, it looks as if the data were overwritten or deleted, but, however, it's still available in the database. The auditing of data changes allows the recording of data changes, deletions, and inserts. What can be acquired here? Username, timestamp, kind of change, on which way was the change, which value has been changed, in which business case, in which database table, also old and new values, and many more. The data validation process, however, can be carried out both on the widget level and at the business case level. For the latter, we activate the feature Data Row Validator. With the Data Row Validator, we can check the values of the widgets independently via JavaScript. By clicking on the question mark, you'll find examples. A simple example would be here widget A and B may not together exceed widget C. You'll find more opportunities for data validation on the widget level. In the widget on tab Data Output Format, you can specify different data types. Each includes its own validation capabilities. For number values, you can define, for example, validity intervals or check values using own Java classes, for example to check if an entered zip code is correct or not. The data type of date and time allows the use of a date picker, which makes it impossible to enter an incorrect date format. Intervals are also allowed here, and also Java classes. The data output type text also has the opportunity to check the entered text using regular expressions. Security is always a very important topic with Apparo FastEdit. Security groups can be used on client level, folder level, business case level, and widget level for the detailed control of features and settings. While the security settings of the higher levels restrict mainly who can open which business cases, the security question on widget level is more linked to the question who is allowed to see what data and what features are to apply to which security groups. For example, you can set different constant values for different user groups or make widgets read-only for user groups that are not allowed to change data. Business case folders. For the management of business cases, folders are available. With rights control, you can define who can open or edit the folder and who is allowed to start the contained business cases. Business cases can be moved or copied from one folder to another. Clients enable the management of different business units. They allow the strict separation of the management of business cases in the designer and the easier separation of the data from different departments. Only so-called super users can create and manage clients. This right will be granted at installation time in the Configuration Manager. Each user can be assigned to one or more clients. If a designer user is assigned to several clients, he can choose freely. Each client represents a completely separate FastEdit environment, with its own business cases, settings, languages, design, and style.